Hello from the other side and welcome to the Makwanas Podcast. My name is Nikita Makwana and as always I am not alone. Sitting beside me is my husband, my business partner and the whole lot of thing, Mr. Mompoloki Makwana. Papi, how are you doing?
Hello, thank you so much. How are you? I'm fine. I cannot complain. Thank you so much and thank you for this wonderful episode that we are rolling in today.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I mean, it's the 10th episode of the Makwanas Podcast. We started early this year around March.
Yeah.
And before the camera started rolling, we were showing our production team on the very first episode of the Makwanas Podcast, and I could see Mr. Pare was so speechless.
Yes.
The video looks so ancient. Because at that time things were not easy. To be honest, they were not. We had just gotten married. We're coming from the wedding, and then we decided, you know what, we've always wanted to do this.
3 months after.
3 months after. We've always wanted to do this, and we know we don't have resources, but we said we're gonna do this after we get married, right? And we said, let's go ahead and do it.
It's beautiful when you make a reflection, because we're talking about so many reflections, and now to come to think about this podcast as a source of many great things that happened after. We started it with the idea in mind to be a force for encouragement, a force for counsel, and to talk much more of the great work that God is doing in our lives. And I'm happy to see that consistency build up to where it is today as we are rounding up the year. So it's a very good reflection on looking back on how the year was and the starting of the podcast.
Amazing. And I think let me also take this moment to give special thanks to everybody who takes time to watch the Makwanas Podcast. You know, since its production, we have produced a couple of episodes, not necessarily every month or every week, but we have, based on the quality of the work that we have released, we've seen people saying, hey, I've watched this podcast and I really felt this thing blessed me 1, 2, 3. And that is so beautiful. You know, you never know how far the work that you do goes. You never know who is going to be blessed by the work that you do. I feel like if there is one takeaway that I have regarding the podcast was exactly that when God puts something in your mind, don't hesitate to take it out. Don't look at it, oh, what resources do I have? In my mind, sometimes I'm wondering how many people missed the blessing because somebody held it back and saying, it's not glamorous, nobody's going to receive it. I mean, that time we had that kind of phone, it wasn't even looking nice, right? And today we have cameras behind us and microphones and all these other things. We have the production team, we have people that have been working with us. So, I mean, we are grateful for everybody who followed us from the beginning. I mean, we have not arrived where we want to go. And we thank everybody who's been doing this thing with us in the journey. And of course, I'm also grateful to you for, for believing this can be done.
You know what? There is an aspect in my book. It's called The Birth of Greatness. And the chapter is called Creativity Comes in Motion. And when I reflect on the year that was, I think of the aspect of creativity coming in motion. There's a lot of ideas that has not been birthed this year that people had. Lot of plans that people had about what the year can look like. Maybe starting a business, maybe getting married, maybe proposing, maybe trying to find someone you can be in a relationship with, or trying to start a salon, start that business, maybe apply for a course, do your PhD, as for you, we have seen you graduate this year on your master's, right? There's a lot of things that comes in there, and we don't realize the power of words and thoughts in action before everything is fully formed, before everything is perfectly formed, before all the resources are in place, before everything that you are looking for to work, before it's in place. There are certain things, a spiritual matter, life is spiritual. There are certain things in our lives, including this year alone, that didn't come to pass because we didn't show our faith. We didn't show our belief. We didn't show our courage. Sometimes all what life is waiting for is for you to say, yes, I'm going to meet that person, and to ask for a job. And for the fact you decide, you took a bath, you took a shower, your last lotion, and you went to that meeting life answers your prayers before even you meet that person. It creates a sense of need, and a person say, you know, I'm looking for someone, and then you are the someone that is now is coming, and you are shocked when you say, I'm looking for a job. They say, we've been looking for someone. All that it requires is for you to start the rolling movement. And when we reflect on the year, we see there are so many things we have done. Employee Africa Summit, the annual tree planting sponsored walk. How many people, we knocked at their doors, they said, yes, we are coming. It's like they've been waiting. The truth of the matter is they've been waiting. The world has been waiting on you to start something that people need. But no one will tell you we need something until you create it. So it's that creativity comes in motion when I reflect back on the year. I don't know what your thoughts are regarding just on a personal journey, regarding your master's degree is a lot, regarding people that we work with today who happen to have been watching our podcast and now they are seeing you for the second time. What your thoughts are around that casting of the net that you are not sure, but Jesus is saying, cast it deeper. That is required. It's not even you to push it to the back of the ocean. You need to cast it. You need to release it from your hands, and the fish will come in.
You know, one of the challenges that I have when I work with my husband is when we have conversations, sometimes I zoom out from the conversation. I don't know if it's really, I don't know if anybody will get me at home, but when we are having conversation, maybe it's a podcast whatsoever, and then I just find myself so inclined to what you are saying, and I'm so focusing on what you are saying, and at that time I'm not even thinking I should say something. Exactly. So it feels like,
that's why I had to ask you a question.
Exactly. I was soaked deep into what you are saying. I feel blessed. I really feel blessed. There is so much that God has done for us this year, and I'm really grateful for that. I'm also grateful for what God has done through us for other people. When you talk about life comes in motion, all these, I really agree with you 110%, because you earlier on touched on how I got to graduate from my master's degree. Guys, this is a crazy one, because it's one of those experiences that made me to cherish education better and even more. My journey with studying my master's degree was a tormenting experience. I think I should call it a tormenting experience. I studied my master's while I was still in China, and then I had to travel back to Botswana. And then after that, you know, studying online was not easy, and I was studying while I'm working away from home. It was just a whole lot of challenge. What ended up happening is a 2 years course ended up taking 3.5 years. That's almost 4 years. What took most of the students to, it took other students to 2 years to graduate. In my case, it took me almost double that. It was a frustrating experience. Because, you know, when you extend your studies, if you're on scholarship, now you have to pay for yourself. That was the case with me. I had to go back and pay for myself. You can just imagine how I didn't budget for that, I didn't budget for that at all. It wasn't easy. I mean, from just writing the paper, going back, not doing well. What was more difficult about it is I grew up gifted academically. I never had, to experience this whole thing of repeating, retaking and all that.
Back and forth on the research paper.
Never had to go through that in my life. But at that season, that happened, and it was really challenging for me to understand what could have gone wrong. What's wrong with me? Is this even worth pursuing? Why don't I just let it go? I honestly had those kind of thoughts. There was a time that I wanted to throw in the towel and say, I'm not going to continue with this. Number one, it was consuming my time. It was consuming me emotionally. Everything I felt consumed. My pockets, I would earn money, and all I did with my money was to pay for school fees. Guys, it was a lot, and at one time I wanted to let go. But this is what God does. Throughout the process, I've seen God helping me through to pay my school fees. I finally managed to pay all that money. And our currency here, when you're studying in China, you're using RMB, and basically it's double what if they say five, yeah, it's the currency is stronger. So being able to gather that money and send it, it was really frustrating. But I am so grateful that I didn't throw in the towel. I'm so grateful that I didn't give up. And I'm so grateful that I kept on keeping on, regardless. And I should also say, I didn't just do it on my own. Number one, God was helping me to, to stay strong. Yeah. And I also had a supporting system, which you have been, to say, no, you can do this, you can, all of us, I feel we need that kind of those kind of people in our lives. We need somebody who helps us to keep on pushing, to not give up in our dreams and visions. Yeah, and that is what I'm grateful for.
And I've seen that becoming a ripple effect with regards to your career projection, job transitions, and that has played a major role. Yes, I'm going to go there, but I'm not going to go there. That has played a major role in your becoming and building momentum to where you are going. Now, talking about just having the right kind of people in your side to support you to go forward. It's not like people are going to see you on the way and say, oh, we need to support you. Let's talk about the intentionality and maybe on your experience going through 2023 and going into 2024 now, the importance and the key elements of the intentionality around building a circle of influence of people around you. And some people, we know as the season ends, what normal people say, no, we are getting new friends.
Cutting people off.
Cutting people off. I want us to talk about that element. And funny enough, we talked about it
yesterday, and I've actually the whole week we've been talking about that.
And the first episode for this year, we talked about that.
Relationship building.
Relationship building. Let's talk about that in terms of destiny. Because people left on our own, we are emotional beings. We are petty. We can be difficult, we can be challenging, we can be hard to deal with, including even spouses.
Are you referring to me?
So,
I have a feeling. I got a feeling.
What should people think about?
What should people think about?
What should people think about when it comes to intentional relationship building that births friendships, that births business networks, that births potential customers?
I find that to be intriguing because remember when we met, I shared a lot with you on how I view relationships. And I've shared this with some of my friends. And I've seen this principle really working in my life personally. And like we have always discussed that sometimes people were going to feel, this woman or this girl is just too much with regard to how she perceives the relationships. I have a different perspective when it comes to relationship building. I don't believe that relationships shouldn't just happen to us, Friendships should not just happen to us.
We have an automatic thing.
No, it's not an automatic thing. And we don't choose friends because they are there, they are available. We choose friends. Actually, we are attracted to people. People are spirits, like I always say. People are spirits. And when you are going to be choosing people, you realize that you are attracting that caliber of people. This goes for whether it's sexual relationships or it's just you and your friends where you are choosing somebody to relate with. You recognize that your level in life determines the kind of people that are going to be attracted to you. There are people, Papi, who have always felt that, I'm so unlucky, I'm only attracting losers, people who are serious, who are not serious. There was a time I used to feel like that about myself. There are people who feel like, the kind of friends that I'm attracting are takers and they are not givers. There was a time I used to go through that, where you have friends and you are the giver in the relationship, nobody's giving you anything.
Everyone who shall be El Shaddai.
Yes. So at one point you must realize that you can't be everything to people. And as you advance in life, you should do your best and be intentional about the kind of people that come into your life. When you are growing, working on your mindset, focusing on just getting your life together, my friend, you're going to be shocked by the caliber of people that are going to be attracted to you. You're going to wonder, why is it that all my life I have been attracting this kind of people? And the answer is because your energy, your mannerism, your vibration has been attracting such kind of people. It's easy to say, hey, now I'm having this kind of people, I'm so unlucky. But sometimes you have to sit back and look at, number one, where you meet those friends.
Location. Environment.
Yeah. Number two, how is the words that you speak, your words, they attract people. There are people that can't sit next to you because of you curse. People don't sit, destiny helpers don't sit next to people who do things like that. So when you want to attract certain kind of people in your life, you must first start with yourself.
You must become which you want to see.
Exactly.
And it's impossible for you right now to call Bill Gates and say, let's go out for drinking.
Where are you going to see him?
The accessibility of location for someone.
Yeah.
I know, it's really deep. The Spirit was just reminding me now, as I was thinking about it, that how many times do we sit back and really say, this is the cost of investment I'm willing to place in building new networks?
Yeah.
Can I sit down as Mompoloki Makwana and say, by next year, I want to have 2 friends in Cape Town, and by next year, this is the investment I'm willing to make. I'm willing to buy a flight ticket or a bus.
Exactly.
This is the hotel I'm going to stay in. This is where I'm going to go for businesses. This is the networking sessions I'm going to attend. These are the events that maybe I can find those people. And if I look at my life, I realize that even I, who have the network, it's a matter of vibration because I develop myself.
Yeah.
But I've not seen myself go in length and say, I want to have Egyptian friends who can invest in this kind of business.
Yeah.
I've not seen that kind of investment. So I think we must be intentional with the cost of investment that we are willing to place in the relationships we want to do. The cheaper the cost, the cheaper the friendships.
Yeah.
The higher the price, the higher the quality of the friendship. And when we are willing to invest in such, I think it makes a game changer.
It does.
And we must be intentional to put in resources, money, expertise in sorting after the networks that we want to see in our lives. And it's not going to come easy. And most of the time, because we are comfortable, we become comfortable to extent that we get absorbed by the environment we are in. And now because I know you from crèche, preschool, I know you from college, it becomes an automatic friendship.
Yeah.
Or we go to the same church, hi Choma, we are in the association. But
yeah.
But it shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't.
Am I saying don't be friends with people you go to church with? Am I saying don't eat school with? No. I'm saying, is your destiny allowing you to invest in the certain friendships you are in? And I know my words are going to be my pain now from this podcast. But we must be intentional, and myself included. As I'm going to 2024, I want to make travels next year where I'm pursuing the investment that can put me in places where my destiny helpers are.
Interesting. And I want to highlight on these areas particularly that relationships are very expensive. Relationships are very expensive. And there are people in life who are not willing to pay the price of relationships.
Yep.
Okay? There are people that, I'll give you an example, maybe just to expand on what you just said.
Yeah.
There are people that you have known from primary school.
Yeah.
And right now they are advanced, they are grown, they hold different positions.
Yeah.
Just because you know them from primary school doesn't mean you have access to
access is
to
expensive.
them, you know. Access is very, very expensive. And in my experience, I've seen that there are people who are not humble enough. People who just don't want to humble themselves and realize that my friend right now is advanced, and I can't come to them with the discussions of primary school. This is actually exactly. There are people actually who do that.
That's how they relate.
That's what happens. People find it difficult to acknowledge where you are. That your growth. And they want you to, because now they are meeting you, it's been years, they want you to reduce yourself so that they can feel comfortable.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I find that to be so wrong. And I find that to be
insulting.
So, yeah, it's very insulting. I mean, people grow, people change, people advance, people get anointed. And if you want to break through into their spaces, you should be willing to level up. But we are living in a generation where people will make you feel bad for growing. People will make you feel bad for having money.
For having resources.
People make you feel bad for traveling abroad. People make you feel bad for getting married. People make you feel bad for being blessed. And this is why. Because they are not willing to grow. They are not willing to invest. They are not willing to honor the blessing in your life. For me, as I always talk about this, if you have been part of the people that I have trained and coached when it comes to relationship building, this is something that I share all the time with my clientele, that relationships are very expensive. Don't find yourself ever in your life having to reduce yourself so that the next person can feel comfortable.
And sometimes you feel like it's humility, but Dad, Biafram said, it's fake humility.
It is.
If you can afford to fly and you are saying, let me just take a bus, let me not buy t-shirt at 5,000, like 5,000, some people are struggling, they don't have food.
Yeah. But you've worked for it, and God has blessed you with that, and it's okay to enjoy the blessings that the Lord has put in your life without feeling bad about it. And like I said, there are people that just because, you know, you have this kind of resource, they're like, hey, nowadays you have changed. People, it's okay to change. You are not forced to stay in the same place.
For people to say you have changed.
Because you have. You have changed and you should embrace it, and they see that you have changed. The question is, are you willing to change yourself? Are you willing to level up?
This standard.
Exactly.
In my first book, The Birth of Greatness, I said, don't go down in the pit to pull people up. Let them level up to where you are to have a conversation. You said something powerful yesterday, a story of a bird which was beautiful. Beautiful bird. The bird ended up going to the ground and it was beat by a snake
and it died.
It seems like a sad story.
Yeah.
But what is a beautiful bird who's supposed to be flying?
With wings.
With wings.
Doing in the
ground.
Exactly.
And sometimes, hear me out, it seems like you are heartless.
Yeah.
But most people die, real death, my friend, where they die and they are buried. Most people die, and most people have died because they were trying to be like that bird and saying, I don't want people to feel like I've grown.
Yeah.
There are people this December, they are not taking that GD6 to home. They will rather borrow a car, a Honda Fit, so that people at home, they don't say, your mother, look at your mother. Your mother have two bedroom. Why didn't you add another house? There are people who are good spectators and good advisors. The advices they cannot use in their own lives. And when you are growing, it's important to know who you should not listen to and who you should never allow to sit on a table like this with you. Because if they come at the wrong time, they will not want to eat. They will want to eliminate you so that they eat alone. Because they have not paid the due of being on the table. If you listen to a conversation between one pastor and TD Jakes, he said, I've seen a vision of a man crawling on the floor to sit on the table. And the crawling on the floor is the process that every human being, including our beautiful producers here, they have to go through. There are places people should not access until they have paid the price. Because if they don't pay the price, they will take the place of those who have paid the price. And once we are mindful about relationship building from that aspect, we now know it's not an element of belonging. Oh, Nikita's mama, picture taking. It's an element of growing ourselves to a place where, without even knowing, we find ourselves invited in World Economic Forum, we are sitting next to each other. We find ourselves sitting in a TV show, we are sitting next to each other. That is the platform that shows the hard work that every individual had paid to belong there. Should you write an email and ask for friendship? No. Why not work on yourself to be in a place where now you find yourself most of the time in places where people have grown and groomed themselves. So that's a very powerful revelation for you there. To be mindful. If you don't belong, you didn't work on yourself. And instead of going out there and seeming like you belong, why not work on yourself and really belong? And the day you belong, you don't want even to belong. You don't feel the need to seem that you belong. there's a sense of level of peace that comes with you now working on yourself to an extent where even when you wake up, people shouldn't even know that you are there. Because now the peace that surpasses all understanding has now occupied your heart. So it's very, very, very important that we think about these things when we are building relationships. And now the year is ending. And there's something you said powerfully about the year ending. You said, don't end your year before it ends. Right? And talking about how the ending is better than the beginning there.
As the scripture says, it says that better is the end of a thing than its beginning thereof. I think you can continue. I was actually paying more attention to you.
Really. Yeah. So I wanted us to talk about the power that comes with good ending.
Yeah.
There's no one who starts the race and towards the end of the race they say, no, now I can remove my shoes and just walk towards the finishing line. And that power, these 10 days, remember when we were driving here, I was saying, you know, when you are sitting right now and saying next year, it seems like it's 10 years to come.
Yeah.
When you say next year, the devil is stealing people's ideas and execution right now because there is next year. And because we think when we call it next year, it's many days from here, but actually
it's 10 days.
It's 10 days.
Yeah.
And when you are mindful that no, next year is not next year. Next year we are saying in the next week. That's a good one. So when you say next week, I'm starting this. Why not start it now?
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if I feel challenged or attacked by what you're saying. Yeah. Because in as much as we've been having these conversations regarding starting things early and finishing the year stronger so that we can start the next in a good place and in a good position. I've been guilty of this myself with different areas of my life. I mean, I'm grateful, yes, of how I've been coming up with my career, the project that we've been doing, but I also have those aspects in my life that I feel like I've always postponed, maybe just to allow myself to be vulnerable and share with people at home. I have been losing weight 20 times.
Yes.
I have been losing weight, guys, and I'll lose 3 kg. After I lose 3 kg, I go back to Magnum.
Go back to celebrate the
loss. Celebrate the loss of 3 kg and I'll eat everything. If you pay attention to the podcast, oh my God.
The first episode and now the blessings of the Lord are visible.
The blessing of the Lord. I have expanded and I've been saying I'm going to try to do this next year. I think that one of the challenges that I'm throwing out is to not start working on my, not weight loss per se, but my fitness journey in January. But I'll start it as soon as now.
Today. I've seen you. I wanted for us to shoot this episode January. You said, no, why not shoot it now? January is another episode.
Yeah.
I want us to talk around finishing strong and be mindful that your finishing strong sets you up for starting strong. You will not start strong what you didn't finish strong.
Exactly.
And every house that is built on a foundation.
Yeah.
And it seems impossible to plant now. It seems impossible to register now. It seems impossible to do job hunting now. It seems impossible to be in the house and read 2 books in these 2 weeks. It seems impossible to sit down and structure and write the plans you are going to work on in January. But I've seen us sit down in the month of December, God giving us an idea of Botswana Agriculture Summit. And I said, honey, should we go maybe next year? Then you say, why not work now? And as we speak, we have people who say we are going to be part of the summit. Some people have bought the tickets. Isn't it scary that sometimes we postpone the things that needs to be done today for tomorrow, only to reach tomorrow, and tomorrow you can only enter with a ticket of what you did yesterday. If God has to say, anyone who has not started anything,
it's not going to
2024.
Don't scare us.
No. If God have to say, why should we allow 2024? What did you start that you want to finish in 2024? My friend, what will be your answer? A man wrestled with God. A man negotiated with God. He said, God, I cannot die now. I have work to do. God gave him more days in the Bible.
Yeah.
Now, today, as we are praying, there are accidents we are praying for. And they now have to happen people to go because people have nothing to do in 2024. They are building momentum of drunkenness. They are building momentum of abuse. They are building momentum of sex with anyone they meet. And now you are saying, oh, we need to preserve this life to 2024. For what? It's important that we are mindful that the life we live is not a life of passing days. It's a life of moving to a destiny. And the consciousness of destiny in our minds should be the one that pushes us to why we have to be here tomorrow. Why should you be tomorrow? Tomorrow
so
will never be a promise for those who have nothing in hand to show for today.
That is so powerful. I mean, summing it up, what is it that you are working on right now that maybe if something comes up, you are able to negotiate your stay in earth?
And people who have something, they don't have to negotiate.
They don't have to negotiate.
They don't even think of death.
They don't. Because
they wake up and they find in heaven, they're like, I have to continue going.
Exactly.
When you are in the move, there's a point where it's non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Remember we got here and said, oh no, please, let's go and ask first. I was already shooting. Because for me, I was like, if a man in a move, a man with a destiny cannot be stopped unless he stops himself.
Yeah.
And part of living, growth, and becoming, it's a sense of destiny in mind.
Amazing. As you are speaking, I'm reminded of a podcast. We recently listened to Grant Cardone, and he spoke about something that really resonated with me. He was focusing on the power of seclusion, you know, solidarity, as some people will say. Separating yourself. It is festive and most people are going back home.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you shouldn't go back home. And you realize that during the festive season, that's where, you know, it's very noisy and very, very difficult to start something beautiful because you are focusing on celebrating. Sometimes people are just celebrating, but there's really nothing to celebrate, you know.
True.
Some people are just focusing on how can I blow all the money that I have.
Yeah.
But there is something so powerful about seclusion. And I shared this with you based on my personal experience that when you seclude yourself, especially in a time where everybody is meeting everybody and wasting time, there is that thing that sparks in your mind where you start to believe that you deserve things that people cannot have. If you seclude yourself during a season like this, I mean, there are many times in your life that you can use for seclusion.
Yeah.
If you seclude yourself in a moment like this, whether it's secluding yourself to read a book, I'm not talking about that kind of seclusion where you are depressed and you are keeping yourself to yourself and end up killing yourself. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the seclusion that I've personally experienced, where I sit back and I start journaling, writing down my thoughts, writing down my desires, writing down my goals, etc. I'm talking about the seclusion where I'm able to reconnect with my God and disconnect from the rest of the world, where I am praying for myself, I'm praying for my family, and I'm praying for anything that God puts in my spirit and in my mind. I'm talking about the seclusion where you say, what are the things that I have always done which are seemingly okay, but they are sabotaging my life, they're sabotaging my marriage, they're sabotaging my future? What are the habits that I have accumulated over the years, over the weeks, over the months that are limiting me from achieving my goals? That's the kind of seclusion that I'm talking about. And let me tell you something. Most people say that they're going to seclude themselves in January, in February. That's not true. That is the moment and the hour that your employer is going to be somewhere here on your neck, giving you one assignment after the other.
The bills as well.
The bills are going to be on your neck. The better time to seclude yourself is when nobody is giving you any kind of an assignment. And but what I love so much about seclusion is it's you giving yourself an assignment, you making promise to yourself without anybody pointing at a gun in your face. It's you setting these goals without
not from
supervision.
pain, but nowadays some change.
Thank you.
But from joy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where you set these goals from from a place of healing.
Yeah.
There are people who only start the period of seclusion when a guy or a woman has broken their heart and they say, you know what?
I want to be with myself.
I want want to be with myself. And you know, like they always say, when you're heartbroken, you become a motivational speaker.
It's automatic.
It's automatic because you're speaking from a place of pain.
But from a place of healing, you build instead of destroying.
And you change a lot of things about your life.
It is visible.
It is visible.
Yeah.
So I want to challenge everybody who is watching this at home. Seclusion doesn't have to be a month. Seclusion doesn't have to be extreme. You can seclude yourself for a day where you gather your thoughts.
A week?
A week where you gather your thoughts.
3 hours?
3 hours where you gather your thoughts.
Yeah.
Seclusion is not extreme. Seclusion can be just you switching off your phone and listen to your mind, listen to yourself, listen to your thoughts. Seclusion is not that extreme of having to take hours and days of fasting. It's just you sitting there and say, God, I have a lot of ideas. Which one should I focus on?
Connecting with yourself.
Connecting
for yourself.
With yourself, for yourself, and connecting with your creator for yourself. By the time the year starts, where everybody now is trying to figure out what to do with their lives, God has already shown you which area to go to.
Yeah.
And you don't have to run around.
All over, scattering. No.
Absolutely.
In our conclusion, thank you so much for sharing that powerful element of seclusion. In our conclusion, maybe we can share some of the projects that are already out there and people can take advantage of. I will allow you to share on the mentorship program that we are opening and people will check it out. But first is the Master Public Speaking program, which is powered by the Makwana Leadership Academy. We know more than 200 people have graduated from it. No doubt, people have been empowered. We have testimonies even on our YouTube of people who have accessed it. People at Eswatini, we had a wonderful experience. I forgot to even talk about it. A wonderful experience at Eswatini where people, professionals, they were really amazed by what you taught, even what you taught them on intercultural competence, on how power dynamics has really played a role in their jobs. I still remember the stories. Now we have the Master Public Speaking program coming on the 3rd of February. As usual, this is not a way to get tickets. No, as usual, we are always selling out. But make sure you are part of the 25 people who are attending the workshop. And then the second part that we have worked on successfully this year, Employee Africa Summit. Amazing work, and we are seeing so much changes for the coming one. We will announce the dates, but the dates that are already out there, it's at the Botswana Agriculture Summit. We are in a mission of feeding the nation. We are in a mission of feeding the nation, and we want to talk about feeding the nation and sustainability. With this one land we have, how can we produce food on it sustainably, right? The future of agriculture. We're talking about driving food security and sustainability. From the 25th to the 26th of April, early bird tickets are going for 1,500. So make sure you reserve your early bird tickets. We have stalls there which are going for 10,000. Make sure you get that stall. And then, what am I leaving behind?
In terms of the past events?
The coming events. I think your mentorship program.
Oh, yes. So recently, not recently, actually, since the beginning of the year, we've been having people saying, we need mentorship. And like I always say, sometimes I say I don't do mentorship, I do coaching. Because here's the reason why. With mentorship, people don't commit. Most of the time, people don't really commit because they're thinking, oh yeah, she's my mentor. But I want to give you practical things that you can be able to use. And I'm bringing this right in front of you. I don't want you to let the dates go by and then you start running around sending us the usual message of, hey ma'am, I didn't know that this thing. I'm telling you right now, we have a program that is going to be focused on helping you become the better version of yourself. And this is one of the works that I do to help professionals in terms of thriving across cultures. So I have tailor-made it for different categories of people. We have people who are executive leaders. We have executives, leaders, professionals. I also have a category that only caters for college students,
and graduates.
So I'm going to be sending a link so that you're able to sign up. So mostly it's going to be helping you to elevate in your career, to see beyond your immediate surrounding, to just get to know what's happening in the other side of the world, and how can you position yourself as the to-go-to professional in your field, something that I've successfully been able to do over the past almost 4 years now. If you don't know, just to give you a quick background, I've been working over the past 4 years with different universities as a lecturer and an instructor. I've also worked training different people from, you know, in the business world, corporate leaders, on how to work with each other on things like relationship building, understanding relationship dynamics, effectiveness in the workplace, building confidence, etc. So I have gathered all my experiences, personal experiences, and also the experiences that I have got to learn through the people that I have mentored and people that have mentored me. And I'm so excited to bring that to you, to your house, and to help you become the best version of yourself.
So if we are being very precise, this is for people who are still in college, make a transition, and for those who just graduated, maybe you have not been working, or you are still in internship, or you are still looking for a job. You are in a job and you are looking for a job. This is the right program for you. So make sure you do sign up. So the link will be out on her website, www.nikitamakwana.com. She will be able to, you'll be able to sign up for the program. It's limited number, so make sure you do sign up for that. I would like to sign up.
I can't wait to have you.
I'd like to sign up for the program. All right.
I think more they'll keep on learning as you keep on following our social media platforms, because we put out there mostly our professional work, what we do. So you'll be able to access that.
Thank you so much.
And we wish you a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. It's going to be a wonderful year ahead. Our dead Prophet B. Frams proclaimed it to be a year of better days. And I hope that you experience better days. You experience the joy in your family, refreshment in all aspects of your life. You are blessed.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to hit the like button, to hit the subscription button, and to share our content with your friends and your family. Don't act like you don't like it, because I can see that you like it already. And you've told us many times that, oh, I watch your podcast, and I'm like, why didn't you subscribe?
Why didn't you subscribe? Why didn't you share?
Why didn't you share? Why didn't you leave a comment in the comment section? You know, please subscribe before I...
That's my wife being herself. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us.